It's day 2 of Diddy's trial, and things are not looking good for him at all. The courtroom is buzzing, the jury is watching closely, and the pressure is mounting as more details come to light about what really went down behind the scenes of one of hip-hop's most powerful figures. From lies under oath to shocking new evidence being introduced, this case is quickly spiraling into something that could land Diddy behind bars for the rest of his life. Let's start from the top. Diddy, real name Sean Diddy Combs, is currently standing trial in federal court facing serious charges, including racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. These aren't just vague allegations, they're detailed accusations involving years of alleged abuse, coercion, manipulation, and even violence. And now, after just 2 days of proceedings, it seems like the prosecution is already gaining momentum. One of the biggest developments? Court documents have surfaced showing that Diddy was directly questioned about why he lied about a controversial video allegedly showing him beating Cassie Ventura back in 2016. Now, if you've been following this story, you know that video was explosive when it first came out. It shocked fans, celebrities, and legal experts alike. At the time, Diddy acknowledged the video was real and even issued an apology for his actions. But then, just days before the trial, he did a complete 180. His lawyers filed a motion claiming the video was fake, trying to get it thrown out of evidence. That move didn't sit well with the court or the prosecution, and now insiders are saying that this flip-flop is being used as proof that Diddy is scared of what Cassie might say. Because here's the kicker, Cassie has now been officially named as a witness in the trial. That means she'll be taking the stand, looking Diddy in the eyes and telling her side of the story. And given everything we know, that could be devastating for his defense. The jury selection process has already begun, and believe me, this isn't going to be some quiet, low-key affair. This is an 8-week trial, and the judge is making sure that only the most impartial jurors make the cut. Chloe Malice, who was in federal court today, reported that no jurors had been selected yet, but the process is moving forward quickly. And let me tell you, what happened on day 1 of the trial was illuminating, to say the least. Diddy walked into court wearing a crewneck sweater over a white button-down shirt. He looked older, grey creeping into his goatee, lines etched into his face from stress and age. At one point during the proceedings, he even asked the judge for a bathroom break and admitted he was feeling nervous. Can you blame him? He knows what's at stake. Several names were dropped during the first day too, not just victims or witnesses, but high-profile celebrities who may end up being mentioned during the trial. Names like Michael B. Jordan, Mike Myers, Kanye West, and yes, Cassie Ventura. Cassie, who has accused Diddy of years of physical and emotional abuse, is expected to testify, and if her testimony matches the content of that infamous video, Diddy could be in deep trouble. Now Diddy's legal team is doing everything they can to fight back. They've filed multiple motions, including one aimed at getting that incriminating video excluded from the trial. In their filing, they argue that CNN heavily edited the footage, cutting nearly 10 minutes of real-time action down into a short, misleading clip that made Diddy look worse than he actually was. They claim the original footage no longer exists, which would mean the version everyone saw online is inaccurate and shouldn't be admissible in court. But CNN has responded by denying those claims. They've said publicly that they never altered the footage and that the original tapes still exist. So unless Diddy's team can prove otherwise, that video is staying right where it is, front and center in front of the jury. And speaking of the jury, you better believe they're going to see everything. According to reports, prosecutors plan to show graphic footage collected from Diddy's Miami mansion during the FBI raids last year. Hundreds of hours of tapes, many of them sexually explicit, will be presented in court. Some of them will be played in full view of the public, and some of the victims named in the indictment will have to sit through their own trauma being replayed on screen. This is not just a legal battle, it's a psychological war, and Diddy is clearly feeling the pressure. His legal team is crumbling. One of his attorneys, Anthony Rico, recently stepped down, stating that under no circumstances could he continue to represent Diddy. Another major blow came when the powerhouse law firm Grubman, Shire & Sachs, which represented Diddy for over 20 years, dropped him entirely. Rumors are swirling that Lady Gaga threatened to leave the firm unless Diddy was cut loose. Whether that's true or not, the message is clear. Even the people closest to Diddy don't think he's going to win this. So what's left of his defense strategy? Well, it looks like they're trying to paint Diddy as a victim himself, of addiction, of alcoholism, of mental instability. In one recent motion, Diddy's lawyers argued that due to years of drug and alcohol abuse, his mental capacity was so diminished that he couldn't fully understand what he was doing. Translation: they want to say he wasn't in control of his actions, that he wasn't responsible for the crimes he's accused of. But the prosecution isn't buying it. They've already filed a response disputing any testimony that tries to claim Diddy lacked the mental capacity to commit these crimes. They're pushing back hard, and the judge seems to be siding with them. Then there's the issue of the search warrants. Diddy's team is also arguing that the FBI conducted illegal searches of his properties, iCloud accounts, and hotel rooms without proper authorization. They claim the warrants were overly broad, and that all evidence gathered as a result should be suppressed. But again, the prosecution is fighting back, and early rulings suggest that most, if not all, of that evidence will be allowed. So what does this all mean for Diddy? It means he's running out of options. He turned down a plea deal that could have potentially reduced his sentence. He refused to snitch on co-conspirators, even though the feds offered him a way out. And now, with the trial just days away, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Jury selection is underway. Over the next few days, 45 potential jurors will be narrowed down until the final panel is seated. These jurors will be shown graphic footage, hear testimony from survivors, and ultimately decide whether Diddy walks free or spends the rest of his life in prison. And make no mistake, this trial is going to change everything. For years, Diddy has built an empire: music mogul, fashion icon, business tycoon. He's done it all. But now, all of that could come crashing down in a matter of weeks. If he's found guilty on the most serious charges, he could be looking at life in prison. Even the lesser charges carry decades behind bars, and the people around him know it. That's why his team is falling apart. That's why his lawyers are quitting. That's why his law firm abandoned him. They know this isn't just another Hollywood scandal. This is real. This is criminal. And the government is coming for him with everything they've got. As for Cassie, she's not backing down. She's prepared to take the stand and tell her story, using her real name instead of hiding behind pseudonyms like other alleged victims. That's huge. It shows courage, strength, and a willingness to face her abuser head-on, and it could be the nail in Diddy's coffin. What's also interesting is how race is playing into this. During a recent hearing, Diddy's lawyer Mark Agnello tried to shift the narrative, suggesting that this case is less about justice and more about targeting successful black men. But that argument fell flat, especially since Diddy's only black attorney, Anthony Rico, quit the case after disagreeing with that approach. So where does that leave us? On the edge of our seats, watching a once unstoppable music mogul unravel before our eyes, watching a man who built an entire brand on power, control, and dominance now sitting in a beige jail jumpsuit, asking for bathroom breaks, and looking visibly shaken. The storm is far from over, and you won't want to miss what comes next.